Dear reader, listener, if you've made it to week 18 and not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Also, if you are beginning this audio version of Taught on week 18, I would advise going back to listen to weeks 1 through 17 and the foreword and prologue. All of these are in order in the playlist and can be accessed on the YouTube channel Taught at Taught 2022. This character's journal will make much more sense if you start at her beginning. Thank you for reading, listening. Taught, week 18 and 19. Wednesday, December 21st, 2016, 7 a.m. Oh, Starbucks, you are my guilty pleasure, and here in your parking lot I sit once again. So here's a weird observation. It takes me about 3 to 4 days to forget I was ever a teacher. I can completely switch gears and get back into my own life. When I get back there, to my own life, I mean, it's a bit of a mess. Dirty laundry, dusty baseboards, child that needs to be potty trained. But I like it and wonder how I have been immersed in all of those things, yet so hyper focused on school. Since starting this journal, I actually have to face, well, me. I feel myself changing as I hear some of the things I say or relive some of the things I do. And now, on my fifth day away from the pressures of school, I feel different, like an awakening, which implies that it's a good thing, but that's not necessarily true either. Sometimes when you wake up, it's hard to deal with the work left from the night before. You don't even know where to start. One thing I have noticed is that I guard my heart all the time, even here. I chastise myself and my innermost thoughts for being lazy, selfish, snarky, emotional, etc. But really, I am a kind and caring person. I feel my childhood traumas every day and see them in my students. That pushes me to attempt to save as many of them as I can, because I know deep down that if they can just make it until they are old enough to live their own lives and they have a decent education, they have a fighting chance. I am the warrior that pushed my family members to move past all the destruction that my mother put us through, and I do it with my students. Clearly not all of them, clearly not all of them, but the ones that need me to. It feels compulsory and like I'm always running out of time. But really, I'm guarding my heart, trying to create a world where children of all ages are loved and they have tools to keep the bad guys at bay. I'm also pretty smart. My family always teased me about liking books more than anything, and frequently they made me see this as a weakness. But all that reading really created some strong neural connections. In fourth grade, my teacher told me she wanted to talk to my mom about me being in a special class where I could do projects. I now know this was the gifted program. But my mom was mid leaving my dad for the third time as she was shacking up with her current meth buddy. Since I was forced to go with her, I had to change schools again, and that was that. My mom had a firm belief that the public education system was only there to take her money and time, so she fought any attempts to give them either. This is why I never participated in anything school related, and also why I started working at 15. Somehow, despite all of that, I still managed to go to college and graduate summa cum laude. I also managed to accrue $30,000 of student loan debt. Hey, but there's no free lunch, right? When I have time to be part of my own life, I kind of feel like I don't deserve it, and it must surely belong to someone else. In many ways, it's much easier to teach than it is for a street kid to figure out how to navigate the normal world. And this is where being in my normal life gets really complicated for me. There's not a ton of work to be done on my little family with Paulo and Mimi. And when I don't have work to do, I feel worthless. And even as I say it, I know that's not okay. So I didn't want to make this journal about going backwards into things I can't change, but somehow that stuff still seems to find me. I guard my heart because I don't always trust myself. And I think that's where I'm going to have to start. Monday, December 26th, 2016, 8:30 a.m. Today I am in the parking lot of Panera Bread, which is 8 blocks from Grandma's house. I am weighing my options right now. 15 years after quitting smoking, I am seriously thinking about going to the 7-Eleven I spy across the highway and buying a pack of cigarettes. Or maybe a small bottle of Jack Daniels. Not sure what that is. A pint? Not the little airplane one, the next size up. Enough to get me happy, oblivious drunk. I'm pretty sure my sister smokes weed. I could have her bring me some. I am ready to do whatever is necessary to block the endless discomfort of being at Grandma's. I thought a caramel latte and French toast bagel from Panera would do it, but now that it's time to go back, I realize it wasn't even close to helping. Everyone is frustrated with me. I have been cooking for 2 days on a stove from 1968, and I'm not even kidding. The freaking stove is older than I am. At this point, it has two settings on the stovetop: boil and heat to lukewarm. And the actual number associated with each setting is different for every burner. Lukewarm is somewhere between 0 and 6, and boil is somewhere between 1 and 9. The oven also has the same two settings. Must have been a popular feature on this model. So anything I put in there either sits in there for hours while remaining uncooked or comes out with a blackened top and being raw at the bottom. And as I attempt to produce edible meals from this antiquity, I have another antiquity to deal with the entire time. For someone who can't cook anymore because I just can't stand in the kitchen for more than about 5 minutes, having me cook in Grandma's kitchen is a miracle cure for her. By my estimation, she's been able to stand in the kitchen all 14 hours I've been in there over the last 2 days. She's a fountain of knowledge and wisdom after the fact. For every mistake I make, she has a 20-minute lecture on how I should have done it, as well as a story to tell anyone who comes onto the scene. Well, she burned the tops of those scalloped potatoes, Paulo. I told her she needed to put them on the bottom rack of that oven. She didn't, and there is about a 3-inch difference between the two racks. And you can't put 2 pans of stuff in my oven. What the fuck? It says so in the owner's manual. I have asked to see this, and she has yet to produce it. But really, that margarine she used isn't supposed to be used for cooking anyway. I don't know what she was thinking when she used that. Here's what I was thinking when I used that margarine. I was thinking that it was butter because I had just asked if she had any butter so I could make scalloped potatoes from her old recipe because she had asked me to make them for her. And she said, yes, it's in the green butter dish. And then she watched me prepare all this shit and never once mention that it was not butter. Since it was in stick form in a ceramic butter dish with no labels, I had no way of knowing. However, she has cackled about this and told everyone that has stopped by about my inability to recognize butter from margarine. Her neighbor, ironically named Margie, gave me a 30-minute tutorial on recognizing how to differentiate between butter and margarine at Walmart. Apparently, you have to read the labels because one will actually say butter and one will actually say margarine. I now feel I have all the necessary resources to purchase butter and margarine. Where has Margie been all my life? And did I mention the heat? We're having an unusually warm week. The outside temperature was 68 yesterday, and it's a balmy 83 in Grandma's house. She has the thermostat set for 78, and as long as you sit on the couch, wear a short sleeve t shirt, and don't move, it is comfortable. As the sun rises and beams, it helps heat the house from 78 to the average daily temperature of 83. But wait, when I cook, Grandma's oven has a third feature. It also heats the kitchen. At one point on Friday, her temperature gauge next to the door leading out of the kitchen to her back patio had the inside temperature at 88. So, in addition to standing over me, correcting me after the fact, Grandma also has a running dialogue about how much I sweat and how red my face is all the time. Paulo encouraged me to wear my tank top that I brought to sleep in, and as Grandma scrupulously observed me as I worked after changing, she made the following declaration. I had a couple of tops I was going to give you, but now that I got a good look at you, I think your arms are a lot bigger than mine. You better try them on, because I don't think they're going to fit you, and I want to give them to someone that can actually wear them. All of this light-hearted banter has made me a wreck, and honestly, a bit snappish or sullenly silent. Paulo and Mimi play and keep to themselves because I am so emotionally beaten that I have nothing positive to give. I save what little tolerance and socialness I have for when other family members drop in to eat whatever I have cooked for lunch or dinner. We never had a real Christmas dinner because other family members had other places to be or prior commitments. Grandma just cared that we were there and not really about sitting and having a formal dinner. We leave this evening, and I'm hoping Paulo will let me go home with him and Mimi. I am feeling a bit like the naughty shelter dog that you take home and give love and all the good things it never had. Then you leave it for an hour and you come home and it has destroyed all of your irreplaceable keepsakes. I have not been my best self for these past 3 days in my kitchen hell, and it's embarrassing to keep coming back to this place where I know I'm a disappointment to Paulo and Mimi, especially when we have so little time together as a family, and this is how I represent myself when we do. I have decided that alcohol is the easiest calm down item to sneak in throughout the day. I wish I could remember which liquor it is that doesn't smell. I know. I'll text Kelly and have her find out for me. Saturday, December 31st, 2016, 7 a.m. I'm depressed. I have had 2 weeks off work, and all I can do with myself is lay on the couch and do the least amount of anything possible right now. My time off has not rejuvenated me. I started this journal because of stress. I don't think it's reduced my stress that much, but it has become a habit. Originally, I thought it might be the way for me to actually write something meaningful and then attempt to get it published. But I typically find myself not having a real story here, no plot. So why do I feel the need to publish this? I think it is that I believed so strongly in what I was doing when I became a teacher, but the reality of being a teacher is doing something very harmful to me. Frequently, I find myself thinking that someone has to tell our story. Educators keep all the tough stuff on the down low, and it's frowned upon to tell anyone, other than other educators, how challenging it is. This is why the public believes that we go in and sit at a desk all day and then take the summer off as well as every other holiday. So, yeah, the story needs to be told. Except there are people who don't see things the way that I do. I'm not even sure what that means. I'm crazy. They're crazy. They're aliens. I'm an alien. I suppose it could mean in my reflections, I am having a moment of personal growth, one where I realize that different people have different perceptions. This isn't a news flash, but it is an area where one can observe the application. But I do think there are other people who share my perspective. And I guess I want all of our stories out there for consumption because it sucks to feel like you're the only one. Another thing I've gotten out of this journaling is that it is weirdly therapeutic. I mean, who am I actually talking to? A willing audience is who I'm talking to. I can say as much of what I want in whatever way I want to. I don't have to measure my words or worry that I'm not being politically correct. I'm no one's role model, and the only feelings I'm responsible for are mine. But no amount of journaling is making me want to return to school. In fact, it feels so oppressive that I cannot unglue my ass from the couch. This is not normal. And I pray that 2017 is the year that I find the best version of myself, because I'm not a fan of this version.